Metal Gear Solid has been around for 37 years as of making this video, and they have brought you 9 chronological games and over 12 spin-offs. The chronological games are basically masterpieces, and they use the spin-offs to work on new mechanics and introduce a lot of different things that they couldn't do with the original games. It's an exciting time to talk about Metal Gear because I just made a video confirming that the producer basically stated that they want to reintroduce this game to new players and seasoned veterans for the next 20 to 50 years. It's a big statement and it's exciting news. And today we're going to dive into what exactly does that mean for us fans, whether you're new or let's just say you're a veteran like myself. Either way, you're welcome to this channel. If you leave a comment, you have a chance to be selected to win a prize. Basically just going to be giving away Metal Gear stuff, whether it's games, memorabilia, and even Metal Gear Solid Delta, the new game when it comes out. I'll select you now and then give you it once it releases. The holidays are coming, so that's kind of what we're going to do. We was hoping that Delta would release by then, but unfortunately, we got hauled, but it's fine. We're still going to have fun with giveaways. And just make sure you share this and like and comment. That way we can build the community so that more people have chances, because I'm going to continue to give away more to those involved. Okay, today we're going to dive all the way down the rabbit hole of this series. I don't want to spoil too much of the story. You are going to watch some cutscenes of the game, pretty much paying tribute to the game. But I did want to discuss all of the amazing things that we possibly could get going forward, and should be fun just to kind of dive into the rabbit hole of what could be coming for this amazing experience when it comes to Metal Gear. First thing I want to say is thank you guys, because you've made my journey and my excitement even better. Made this channel strictly for the love of Metal Gear. And now we have not only the love, but we have an amazing time with this game coming with Delta. So I do want to showcase Delta just a little bit and discuss it. It's not going to be the main point of the game, by the way, guys, because we have so much to talk about. And Delta isn't necessarily something new to discuss. So Delta is going to be coming out in 2025, most likely. From what the developer said, he said the game is fully playable now, and he also stated that he doesn't expect it to be more than a year. Basically, he's like, it's not going to be multiple years by the time this game comes out. Of course, he couldn't say a release date. He's not allowed, but that's my suggestion, is expected by next holidays of 2025, the latest. I was hoping for a March to April. That would be perfect release for me, but we will see. All right, so with that out of the way, it's an important thing to talk about this game, because basically the developers said they wanted to introduce new players and returning players to this game with the most authentic way to play. And this is the most highly demanded game from everybody to get remade in the last 10 years or so. A little more than that, but I personally didn't think this was needed to be remade, but after seeing the gameplay, all of the footage, I can't deny that it's definitely going to be an amazing time to get my hands on this. I cannot wait. It's just going to be like a kid in a candy store. So this is a great introduction because it gives you the origin story of Big Boss, which will take you into the rest of the series. We're not doing an introduction on for new players, by the way. If you're new, I'm not here for that. All right, so you can go somewhere else for that, but this is going to be the beginning. So 2025, that's what you'll get. Okay, now we're going to dive into one of the most important things, is the timeline. And the reason this is important is because I don't believe Konami will follow the timeline directly, but they certainly can if they wanted to. So we got the Master Collection last year, and now we're getting Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater in 2025. So that's going to be great. And that's where that introduces us to the series. If you look at this chronological order, quick breakdown here, that is awesome. So now you're introduced to the series. There's a lot of ways that this can go. Personally, my personal take, which we're not going to go down a rabbit hole of, is the two original games, 1987 and 1990. These two right here are literally the most outdated games. They have pixelated, they have no voiceovers, no cutscenes, anything. So I personally believe this should be what Konami should make, but the producer said that they have to remake all the levels for a lot of the games if they want to remake them. So it's going to turn into a big project, and it's not something as simple. But he did talk about Metal Gear Solid. Now this was the banger of a game that kind of introduced the world to Metal Gear in 1998. And this one right here was epic because it did have movie-like cinematics. The boss fights were amazing. It's just like a boss fight game, right? Like you go through areas sneaking around just to get to the next boss. And basically, he said that there are areas that they can't just remake, that they have to redo the whole area to fit the modern controls and the modern gameplay. And that is perfectly fine with me. Go right ahead. Right? So this is an exciting thing that I think is interesting because they're going by the most popular games. Okay, part 3 is the most popular within the fan base, and it's the easiest to introduce players with. But Metal Gear Solid was the one that introduced almost everybody in the world to that game. So it's possible that they can take this route next. And the way it would go is in 2025, they'll introduce the Delta Snake Eater game. And by 2026, they'll have Volume 2 ready, which we're not going to get into today. I have videos about that. But basically, Volume 2, personally, I would like to have Metal Gear Solid 4 in it and Peace Walker. Those are the main two games that I believe Volume 2 should have. After that, whatever side spin-offs you want to put in there, I'm fine with it. But that's something that I think could happen. And now, as they introduce Volume 2, that's where Metal Gear Solid can come out. It would be the most easier one because they still can use the voice acting and they still can use some of the level design and just enhance it and then add new areas and change it up a little bit to make it fit the modern day cameras. And we've seen Metal Gear Solid 4 have some of Shadow Moses in it, and I do believe that that could work. Now, personally, again, I would hope that by 2026 or 7, we'll get news about them remaking one of the originals. That way we can actually experience it with cutscenes, voice acting, and all of the above. But it's still in question. One of the biggest mysteries and conversations that I do think could happen is Peace Walker. Peace Walker is lovely, and it fits the Snake Eater style. So all of the forests and all those areas are pretty much what you get in Peace Walker. But Peace Walker was a handheld game, and it was limited to handheld. It had probably some of the deepest elements in the Metal Gear series because you basically were building a base, recruiting people, staff members for medicine so that your staff doesn't get sick, so that you can do a bunch of different things. Like, they literally was one of the deepest grinding type of games for the Metal Gear series, but it had really cool little missions. The cutscenes were pretty rough because some of it was, again, for the handheld PSP. So if they redid this, they have to redo all the cutscenes, all of the commentary, voice acting has to be redone. So to me, the most logical and easier ones would be Peace Walker or Metal Gear Solid or Solid 2. All right, so those are the three that I think will happen. Personally, I just want the older games to be remade and then go from there. I personally prefer to be from the oldest to the newest, but that's just my take. And the reason for that is I really just want awesome new experiences with things that I've never felt before or thought about. So that's just my opinion. Again, to each his own. Everybody has their own preference on what they want to see get remade. A lot of other people were suggesting that Metal Gear Solid 4 get remade. It is the newest game, kind of one of the newer games. You know, you have a couple of games after it, like Ground Zeroes, Peace Walker, Phantom Pain. That's about it. So it doesn't feel like that should be the main ones that we focus on. That's just my opinion. But again, this is a conversations piece. Nobody's wrong. In the comments, you could rage that I'm wrong for wanting the old games to get remade or anything like that. But this is kind of what the timeline looks like for me. I do want to add something totally different outside of the remake style of games or a volume 2. Is for me personally, I would like them to make an original game and showcase that they can still do something cool within the Metal Gear series. It's going to be impossible to follow the imprint that Kojima has and the way that he presents the games and the way he adds his fun, but that doesn't take away from still providing something Metal Gear related. I think all of us fans have our own fantasy of what Metal Gear should be, right? Some of us would love to see the story of Raiden and how he got to become the cyborg. And then after all of that, and then some of us would love to see Big Boss when he ended up, you know, dealing with Venom Snake and him and Venom Snake. This is a storyline I made up one time where I wanted Venom Snake and Big Boss to have their own game where you play as both, but you don't know who's who and you don't really know what's going on. And it's kind of like they're both the boss. Who's the boss? And it's an amazing game that I created and wrote a little mini script about that I felt like could be a fun thing to explore because the Phantom Pain kind of left everybody like, what's going on with Big Boss? And so a very cool psychological thriller is what I would have made if I had to do a Metal Gear game when it comes to Big Boss and Venom together. And then there's all the other cool stuff. And then again, guys, this is the fan service. Whether you're one of the Solid Snake guys who wants to know more of his life after Shadow Moses, or even further down the line, see what happened to him throughout his life, could be interesting. There's other people who want more of a riding game, them to make another riding game. I think that's an easy road. It's a popular hack and slash. It's not necessarily a true Metal Gear game, but the spinoff is fun. And so I don't see why not. They can't do that along with making the remakes, along with making the volume 2 or 3. You know, to me, if they can do 3 volumes, it would be perfect. Give me all the side missions, all of the online modes. Volume 3 can be just all online. Metal Gear Online 1, 2, 3. Give us all of it in one shot. All right. That's just me. But the point is, it is possible that they can go and build teams and hire studios to do these remakes for them and them to supervise with their producers and everybody, and then have the amazing setup to be able to also say, hey, we want to make an original with the Konami team who's supervising the rest of these other studios. Okay, we've seen Blooper make Silent Hill 2. Okay, they were amazing. And that's what I think Konami should do with their remakes, is get the best studios out there to make their remakes, and then they can go and make a new one with something that we want. I personally love Ocelot. I've always talked about an Ocelot game. I always talked about The Boss. You know, she's been incredible, and kind of the espionage that she had to deal with when she was younger and pregnant and going through all that craziness. I mean, like, she has a story. But these are things that I just think is fun, and it's fan if you're a hardcore player. And if you're a new player and you're like, man, what are you talking about? Don't worry. Just play the games and you'll see. All right. But this is kind of where I think the roadmap is leading to. And I think they took a little bit away from Resident Evil. I think Resident Evil's remakes has opened the eyes to a lot of great franchises that are like, hey, we've been around 20, 30 years. We should just remake these games back to back. And the success of some of the Resident Evil games have allowed Konami to feel confident. And now once Delta releases, and it's going to be a Game of the Year contender, there's no way it's not. just like Silent Hill 2 is, just like The Last of Us remake was. Like, those games are getting remade, but they're masterpieces already. So it's pretty easy to kind of stay in the contention. So that's just how I feel. And this is what I think should happen when it comes to the roadmap. Again, you have your choice and opinion. Please leave it, because I want to hear what everybody got to say about this. I've been trying to keep up with the comments. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It gets overwhelming. I have multiple channels, and I gotta hire a team to help me edit so that I could just leave comments and reply to you guys, because I like directly replying. But I do appreciate it big time, and you are gonna be selected for a giveaway. And most likely this video too will get a winner. I'm gonna probably put it in there just because this is like an exciting topic about exploring what is possible. Again, there's a lot of ways to go. I have a Metal Gear game that I'll never talk about directly, but it's amazing, and it has nothing to do with all the stuff I just said, but it's incredible. But I also have a bunch of other ideas that I would love to explore with you guys. So feel free to share what your thoughts are, your feelings are, and let's get into it. See you on the next one. Peace.